So, it's that time of year again. I can't believe we're here. At the end of the Six Nations, Super Saturday is upon us. It literally only feels like last week that we were actually kicking off the Six Nations, but now Super Saturday is here and I cannot wait. First game of the weekend is Wales versus Italy, which I am actually going to. It'd be so good because this fixture 2 years ago, Italy actually won. Ange Capuozzo absolutely stormed it, Padovani try for an Italy win. And now they've come off the back of a Scotland win. Can they back it up? Or can Wales hopefully get off the bottom of the table? Fight for a wooden spoon. I think it's going to be a decent game nonetheless. Then we go to Dublin and Ireland versus Scotland. If Ireland win, draw, they win the title. It's probably likely. I don't see Scotland putting up much of a fight. They will want to bounce back from obviously losing to Italy last time out, but I do feel Ireland have just got too much power. And coming off the back of a loss, they're really going to want to put their foot down. And it's St. Paddy's week, Super Saturday, Ireland for the Six Nations. I don't think it can go wrong. And then finally, we've got France versus England. England coming off the back of a massive win against Ireland. Probably an emotional high as well. Do I think they can back it up? I don't think so. France, really good win in Wales, but now they'll be back at home. Stade de France, England are travelling. I think they're just going to have a lag. Emotional high last week, and I don't think they'll be able to back it up. But saying that, we'll soon find out. Super Saturday seems to deliver lots of tries, great games, so here's hoping. A quick one on the Women's Six Nations as well. I will be posting videos on that, so if you do like fantasy and rugby, just in general, then subscribe to the channel because we're going to have lots of content and it's just another game to play. So even though Six Nations for the men's is ending, the women's, I'm sure and very hopeful that it'll be better than the men's fantasy. So join, I'll put a link in the description next week when I post the video. So you all know me by now, we're going to dive straight into it. In the front row, I've gone Sturrobai, Dan Sheehan and Fischetti. So I brought Sturrobai in, did have Antonio last week, but yeah, didn't perform to his best. Also Bai didn't perform very well last round actually, only got 6 points, but we all know what Bai can do. In the previous rounds he has scored 15 and above, so I am hopeful that with Super Saturday, then being at home, coming off the back of a good win, and England as well, who I think are probably going to have a lag, but that's my personal opinion. I think Bai can do a job. And also stays on for a lot of minutes as well, as we know. At hooker, I have gone with Dan Sheehan. I've backed him once again. Scored 4 tries so far in this year's championship. 32 tackles as well, which we know get some good points. I do feel like they're going to have lots of the ball against Scotland. And to be honest, I think they're going to overpower that Scottish forward pack. I just feel like Scotland, apart from kind of their front row, there's not much power gain there. Their back row is quite light compared to others, so I feel like that's Ireland's game, right? Overpowering, which they couldn't do against England. So I feel Dan Sheehan and the rest of the forward pack are just going to rinse them this week. Then finally, I have gone with Fischetti. So again, over the past few rounds, he scored like 15 and above, which is pretty decent for a prop. Last round, didn't score that great though. But with it being Super Saturday and kind of the wooden spoon decider, I do feel like the game is just going to open up a little bit. So Fischetti's going to get lots of carries. Wales are going to want to have lots of possession of the ball, so he's going to get good tackles in as well. And also good for a turnover, Fischetti. So we'll soon find out. Next up, in the second row, I've gone Dav Jenkins and George Martin. Both young, powerful second rows. So as we know, Dav Jenkins started at 6 last game, and what a performance he had. 34 points, which is absolutely insane. He also made 26 tackles without missing one. That's 67 tackles in the whole of the tournament at the moment. He also made a line-out steal, which only got put into the game on the Monday. So his points upped, which for me was great. So I think Dav Jenkins is a really solid pick and also cheap as well. George Martin is somewhat similar. So last time out, absolutely stormed it, and like I said, that England forward pack definitely out-dominated the Irish forward pack, and George Martin was at the centre of that. 17 tackles, and he's only played one full game, and then come on as a sub. So I feel if he keeps doing what he's doing, France are probably going to have most of the possession. George Martin's going to get over the ball, tackle hard, but also carry. He's made 52 metres in whilst carrying the ball, and that's with only one full game. So I think, especially for a cheap option as well, I think he'll do pretty decently. Then in to the back row, where I'm actually quite excited for this week. So I've obviously stuck with Ben Earl. What a performance last time out. But then I've gone Lorenzo Canone, who has been injured for the past few weeks, but came back off the bench, had a good performance. And then I've gone with Tommy Reffell. As always, solid pick. So with Ben Earl, I think we could either spend the whole video talking about him, or we could just put him in our team and know that he's going to do pretty decently. Last time out, 72 points. Obviously got man of the match. That's 2 man of the matches in 4 games. Tackles, 44. Beat 20 defenders. This is the whole tournament. And almost made 350 metres carried as well. I think he is just a solid pick. He's going to score you, well, watch me jinx it now, but going to score you around 30 points just casually. If he gets any more on top of that, it'll be for breakdown steals, man of the match, tries, etc. So I think he's a good pick, and obviously England's main outlet for attack, but also defence. Then I've gone with a bit of an outsider pick, probably, is Lorenzo Canone. So played the first round but got injured, scored 22 points. That was also with being taken off, but came off the bench last week and scored 12 points. He's already got a breakdown steal and an assist. So watching Italy play, and when he's been in the team, he's their main ball carrier, right? A bit like Ben Earl, gets that go forward, really dynamic, but also a good line-out option as well. So potential to steal there. But with it being wooden spoon decider and Super Saturday, I think Wales-Italy is going to be a pretty open game. And I think Canone, coming back from injury, is going to thrive. Then probably, like Ben Earl, the most consistent fantasy player of this tournament. Looking at his points, 34 in round 2, did dip a little bit, 25 in round 3, but then 31 again, so consistently scoring 30 points. I definitely take that this week as well. Did actually come off somewhat injured, kind of hobbled off last week, but Tommy Reffell, he's got 8 breakdown steals in 4 games. So that's an average, quick maths, 2 per game. So if he gets that in this game against Italy, Wales will be absolutely flying, and so will he in terms of points. I think he's a must-have. Then at halfbacks, I've gone with Nolan Le Garrec and Jack Crowley. So Le Garrec got his first start in the tournament last time out, got man of the match, not bad, and a try, which was pretty decent. So I'm definitely going on the hype. I did pick Thomas Williams last time out, and he also scored a try, did really well. It was again between him and Le Garrec for me, but Le Garrec at home, he's going to want to come off good form again. I think they're just going to back him, and I think he'll probably start once again. And then we move on to Jack Crowley. So again, in terms of points, really consistent. So again, around the 30 mark, pretty much every game this season. No man of the match, which I think he's probably deserved of, has played so well. But with 10s, they get good kicking points, right? And also really good for assists as well. Scored 11 conversions and 6 penalties. I think with Ireland on St. Paddy's Day winning the Six Nations, I think Jack Crowley's going to pull the strings, hopefully get a few assists, but also they're going to want to keep that scoreboard ticking, so he's going to get good kicking points as well. Then in the centres, pretty formidable pairing, if I'm being honest. I've gone with Bundy Aki and Gael Fickou. So Aki, again, pretty consistent scorer all throughout. The past 2 rounds, 48 points and then 31 points. I'd definitely take that again. Also received the man of the match. We know what he can do in terms of carrying. but also really good on defence as well. So 2 breakdown steals and then 27 tackles throughout the tournament so far. I just feel Aki, he's so pivotal to Ireland and what they do, just adds a different layer to their backline. So he's instrumental, always gets his hands on the ball, and that's going to be the same on St. Paddy's week again. Once again, very similar to probably most of my picks, but Gael Fickou has just been a consistent performer. Has dipped rounds 1 and 2 a little bit, but 2 and 4 has scored over 40 points. So I'm really hopeful that he's just delivered the same again. Also scored 2 tries and got an assist throughout this tournament so far. But what Gael Fickou is really good at, not just outside breaks, but he is the defensive captain for France. So made 40 tackles so far this tournament. I just feel like Fickou is such a good balance, much like Aki, can get that go forward, but also on defence be really strong. And that's so key for obviously how the points are scored in this year's fantasy. And now into the back 3, where I feel like previously in the last 4 rounds hasn't gone so well for me, but I've gone big, so how can this not do well for me? I've gone James Lowe, Damien Penaud as my captain, so I'm back in France to do the job, and I've also gone Rio Dyer. So as usual, right, James Lowe, such a consistent performer, maybe not in terms of points so far this year, has obviously had a 50 score in round 2, but outside of that, pretty much in the 20s, which isn't great to be honest. Also scored 4 tries. We also know he scored 2 tries last time out and only got 29 points. So for other points that he's getting in fantasy, we're just not seeing it. So I'm hoping he gets his hands on the ball a little bit more, but we also know that his defence is so key. Got a breakdown steal as well so far this tournament, but meters carried well over 350. I'm hoping St. Paddy's week, James Lowe just absolutely has a stormer, man of the match. That is kind of what I'm hoping. He is that kind of player, so I'm definitely backing him. But will fantasy points let me down? Who knows? Another person who hasn't had the greatest fantasy points so far is Damien Penaud. Scored 48 points last time out. That is without a try as well. So he literally just took the ball, kept running, also got a breakdown steal as well, and I think an assist. So that's where his points topped up. I think France at the Stade de France on Super Saturday against England, who are coming off, like I said at the start, quite an emotional high. I think it's written in the stars for France to just get the W. Again, back in against England, but I am hopeful that that French team can somewhat turn it around after quite maybe a disappointing tournament by their standards. And then finally, I have backed Rio Dyer. So scored a try last time out, really good, but also been pretty consistent with his points. Round 1, 36, round 3, 31, and then again in round 4, scored 30. 2 tries so far in the whole tournament, but also made 20 tackles. So I think we underestimate Dyer's defence, does make some dominant hits as well. Unfortunately, there's no points for that in fantasy anymore. But Wales versus Italy, I do feel like the game can expand and open up a little bit. I'm also hopeful, because I'm going to the game, that Rio Dyer does turn it on and gives the fans something to shout about. And he's definitely the guy to do that. So hoping, but also he's been consistent, so I'm confident. And then finally, for Super Sub, I have backed last week's decent performance off the bench, Marcus Smith. So obviously he got a drop goal, which did put his points up somewhat. 11 points, not too good, I guess, as a Super Sub, but England versus France, it's going to be an open game. I'm hoping Marcus Smith does actually start, but I have a feeling Borthwick is going to keep it the same as he usually does. But if France do play the way I'm expecting them to, it's going to be quite an open game, and that will just naturally mean that Smith will come onto the pitch. And we also know France have pretty lumpy forwards, so they're also going to be tiring. Marcus Smith at the end of the game just seems destructive to me. So I'm hoping a decent performance off the bench, but obviously overall probably back in that French win. So as we know, none of the teams are out yet. It's Wednesday at the time of posting this video, so none of the teams are out. There will probably be updated team video, so keep an eye out for that. But I think overall, I've gone pretty consistent performers. Also backed Penno, is on form from last game as captain. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Am I playing it too safe, or do I need a few more differentials in there? I'll see you guys probably in an updated team video if the teams are somewhat different to what I'm expecting. But good luck. I'll chat to you in the next video. And as I said, comment down below your team and what you think of mine. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.